Okay, we're covering passage 1. This is a research passage. We know it's research because it says experiment 1 and experiment 2. For research passages, if you don't have time to read the entire passage, and most students don't, you're going to take 30 seconds to look around, see what's being studied, what are the differences in the studied, what is the data presented, and what are the variables, how is it presented. The easiest way to remember this is the DRC approach: data, research, and conflicts are the three passages. Data, don't read. Research, read, not super carefully, but read. And conflicts, carefully read. So this is a research passage, so we're going to read. So let's just quickly break down, if you're not going to read, how to do this. So they're studying a roundworm that's attracted to some chemical compounds. If they're exposed over a period of time, they're less likely to move towards that compound. So students conducted 2 experiments to study the process of basically roundworm smell. Experiment 1, they're attracted to compounds X, Y, Z. On dish 1, they have compound X and Y. Let's see, on dish 2, they have compound X and Z. In dish 3, they have Y and Z. And then it looks like they're saying where they move towards, which one they're attracted to. In experiment 2, there's 3 equal groups, and it looks like they are different compounds, X and Z, and their minutes of exposure. Okay, so they're exposing them to compound X, and they're saying percent that move towards a particular compound. So I got a basic idea of what's going on. That took about 30 seconds. For the questions, I want you to do a read then reread approach. You quickly read through the question, and then you reread it, breaking it down step by step. We'll do the reread together. Number 1, to determine how many C. elegans move towards each compound, the students likely used which lab equipment. So we're looking at roundworms, and this requires a bit of knowledge of how lab equipment is used. So you're not going to use a balance, because a balance is used to measure solid materials. A graduated cylinder is used to measure liquid materials, and a pH meter is used to measure pH. So you're going to use a microscope. They're just counting really small things. So the answer is C. Number 2, based on the results of experiment 1, C. elegans were most attracted to which of the compounds? We're going to go to experiment 1, so table 1, which is the results. And we're going to see, we know it's not going to be choice J, right? We can eliminate choice J because it says it's equally attracted to all 3 compounds. These are not equal numbers. That's an easy one to see. Then we're just going to look at dish 1. And so dish 1 clearly is more attracted to X. So we could already say now our answer is F. We can check in dish 2 to be sure. And the answer is X again. So our answer has to be F, compound X. Number 3, on dish 3 in experiment 1, the number of C. elegans that moved towards compound Z was approximately how many times as great as compound Y. So Z is how many times as great as Y. So Z is 67, Y is 33. So Z is 2 times as great as Y. Be sure to do those in the right order. So your answer is C. If you were to miss this one, your most likely answer would have been B, 1/2. So, and that would have meant you were doing them backwards. Number 4, the single dish experiment design shown in which of the following figures would have best allowed the students to determine X, Y, or Z. So we look at what they tested. They were just testing 2 compounds for each experiment. You have the compound on the outside and the drug on the inside. So we want something that's in a similar configuration and to that. So the most similar configuration is going to be choice F, where you have the compounds X, Y, and Z on the outside and the drugs in the middle and the C. elegans in the middle as well. So F. Number 5, in experiments 1 and 2 combined, compound Z was placed on a total of how many dishes? We look at experiment 1 and experiment 2. We see in experiment 1, it was on 2 dishes, dish 2 and dish 3. In experiment 2, they used dish 2, so we have Z present, and they did 3 different groups. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So your answer is C. Number 6, based on the description of the C. elegans in the passage, C. elegans like which of the following structures? So C. elegans are roundworms. And there's a little bit of knowledge here. Do plant or animal cells have walls? This is a pretty common knowledge question. And plant cells have walls and worms are not plants, so they lack a cell wall F. Number 7, in experiment 2, as the amount of pre-exposure time increased, so we go from 0 to 120, did the number of C. elegans that were attracted to compound Z, so that's the dark black one, increase or decrease? So if we look here, we see it goes from about 40 to 50, and then 50 to about almost 90, so it definitely increases. So we can eliminate C or D. Now we got to say, well, which one is correct, A or B? And we're looking at that chemosentry adaptation. So the beginning tells you what it is. They put it in italics. And so if they have chemosentry adaptation, they're less likely to move towards that compound. So the C. elegans were less likely to move towards compound X because they were moving towards compound Z. So your answer has to be A. They experienced chemosentry adaptation to compound X. So that's all the questions. Here's the recording categories for these questions. So interpretation of data, scientific investigation, evaluations of models. So you can see which questions fall under which category. So if you're missing particular types of questions, you want to review how to study for those. Reach out if you have any other questions. We'll end on our silly joke since this was about worms. My friend said, "You'd do a better job fishing if you took the worm off the hook." I said, "That's debatable." Get it? Have a good day.